Do you ever wish you could be a fly on the wall for conversations between successful women entrepreneurs in different industries?
That's exactly what Breaking Even Better podcast is.
Every week, we'll share raw,
Real,
and unfiltered insights from our experiences scaling our businesses
and helping others do the same.
All right. Hello. All right, friends. If you feel like your business is running you instead of the other way around, then this episode is for you. Welcome back to Breaking Even Better, where we tell it like it is. It's about running business, no fluff, no sugarcoating, just the good, the bad, and the WTF moments we all share in business. Today, we're talking about systems or the lack of, and how they could be the reason your business feels like a dumpster truck. Because let's be real, most of us didn't start a business thinking, oh, I can't wait to set up an SOP. So, Trish, Brenda, let's be honest. Have you ever felt like your business was one big chaotic mess?
Never once. I am the epitome of organization, and I always get it right. So thanks for coming and listening to Breaking Even Better, because I'm better than everybody. No, a hot mess, not only a hot mess for way longer than it should have been a hot mess. I think we reinvented the wheel every single time. Like, we would get on a new client and be like, okay, what next? So excited, what next? So after a while, it got so frustrating because, like, not only were we reinventing the wheel, but we were like doing things manually. And it felt like every single client was like a brand new business in and of itself. Man, it was rough. It was so tricky.
How about you, Brenda?
About the same for me. I thought I had everything in my head. I knew everything. I knew how to do every single thing. Then one day the client asked me, okay, so what's next in the process? And I just stared. Just stared at him, just thinking, that is a great question. I'll get back to you shortly.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. Been there. To me, the question was like, so what's the onboarding process? And I was like, onboarding what? Are we on a plane? Like, I'm at the airport? Like, what are we boarding?
What does onboarding mean?
What does that mean? Like, I'm going to take care of your books. Don't worry about anything else.
Right.
Like, I got this. And then, I had to think, oh my God, like, I have to put something in place. Do you like wake up every morning with no idea what's on your plate for the day? Or clients and team members are constantly asking you the same questions?
Yes.
That might happen.
Don't talk to me about 1099s. I warn you. Are you missing deadlines or dropping the ball and feeling like you're just reacting and putting out fires all day long?
Yes.
Are you drowning on emails and Slack messages, but somehow things get missed?
I'm better at it now, but certainly in the beginning. And it gave me the false sense that I was busy when really I wasn't. I was busy because I wasn't efficient.
Right.
And I wanted to grow and I wanted to do more. And yet I felt like I was busy all the time. And I was, because I wasn't doing it right. It's kind of like, I don't know, like trying to fill a bucket with a teaspoon at a time, you know, and it just wasn't efficient. Didn't make sense.
That busy work got us all food.
Yes. The busy work does get us all
doing
food.
unnecessary stuff.
You
Right?
got that right.
But just think, is it anyone else out there, or who else do you think is out there saying, yep, that's me. That's me. And kind of resonating with this. So where do we start? Because that feeling can be overwhelming and a hot mess.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I'll admit I still have those feelings some days where there are certain processes that are not as strong. But the truth is that the reason why I'm better now, but still not at my best, is because you can't fix everything at once. You got to do it a little bit at a time. And you got to start with whatever's making you the most crazy. And for me, it was fixing the onboarding process with my clients. That was making them feel better and then kind of figuring out on the inside. And one of the ways that I did that was with a CRM. Mm-hmm. And I have, we've used several over the years, but making my clients feel like they were falling through the cracks. Like it was a little different with the staff. The staff's like, we're all on the same team. We'll figure it out. But getting the clients right was my first priority. That's where I really needed to do it. And what I found with that too, with the CRM, was that once the client was onboarded, it was a lot easier to like assign those tasks. Again, using a CRM was like a absolute game changer. I mean, we used to live out of like Word docs and stuff like that. It was just an absolute mess. It was an absolute mess. And what was great too is that once everything was kind of documented, the questions stopped. Everybody knew what was up. I could say like, okay, so here's what's happening. And sure, I did get some questions, but it wasn't the repeat questions, wasn't over and over again. So I found that was the best approach all the way around.
I love that approach. I mean, as the accountant in the room.
Of course.
Systems are the thing that makes this business thing work.
Yeah.
And when I started, obviously it was just me. So I knew my own like kind of set of rules of how to do things and when to do things. And then as I started hiring people, I was like, oh, wait, like they also need to know like when to do, when to respond, like what are the deadlines, like all of these things. And to your point, the CRM became like the go-to thing. And I actually brought somebody on board to set it up for me and do all this, because I don't know. I don't know. I know what it's for. I just don't know how to set it up. And so I outsourced that job, and they created a whole workflow of when a lead comes in, and then when the call gets made and you close the deal, and then what happens next, who does what when, and all of those tasks are now set up automatically. And my life is so much better.
I got to give it to you too. Like, I think it takes a lot to kind of recognize that you're, an excellent bookkeeper and excellent accountant, but maybe that the CRM implementation was not the job you should have. And I think as business owners, we're very good at our space, but then the skill set of actually running the business is a different one. So like, it is hard to know like when to outsource and when not to. So I give you a lot of credit for that, because sometimes it does take a minute to figure out, all right, this is not what I should be touching.
Well, and that was the thing. Somebody said, recommended the CRM. I was like, great. I signed up for the CRM, and then I was like, wait, what do I do with this?
Right.
It's got all these features and it's got all these things, and I don't have like the brain capacity to figure it out and how to set it up and what is it going to be the best thing. And then it was talking about like creating like automation on the I was like, I'm having palpitations. I'm like, I need to outsource this because I can't do this. Talk to me about numbers, talk to me about finances. I don't know any of this. So yes. And I do think a lot of my clients fall into the trap of, I'm going to save some money, so I'm going to do it myself.
Right.
That whole concept of saving money, doing it yourself, what it really does is end up costing you a lot more money. I was able to close a lot more deals once that automation took place and somebody else did it for me. So I made up the money that I invested in both the application and the person to do it just by not having to spend the time figuring it out.
Right.
So for me, it's an applicant tracking system. And I've went through so many applicant tracking systems, I can't even keep count. And I was the opposite. It wasted a lot of my money. Right. Because it's not one system that's going to do everything. So then you start stacking them. And now you got 15 passwords and you have to do all this stuff. So that's why I started looking into building my own or having someone build my own. And I think I reached out to you for a referral at one point. So it can encompass everything that I need. And now for the e-commerce aspect, I'm gonna drop Shopify this one time. That worked well for me because it had the automation that you were just speaking of, and I didn't have to do nothing but follow what they said to do, and that's what I did. Right. So, but let's say that you pick one thing that you're gonna fix. What now? What do you do at that point?
So this is the part that I hate like so much, because again, kind of like what Carolina touched on a moment ago, I would so much prefer to kind of keep it all running in my head. To try to export, like, wouldn't it be cool if, like, in the Matrix, you could just, like, download your information and whatnot?
Maybe not.
Maybe we are in the Matrix. I don't know. We'll touch on that another day. But It's my least favorite, which is documenting. Like you have to kind of like put down
Yes.
every single thing that you're doing. And yes, I recognize that if I document everything, that means that I can then hand it off to someone. It's a little like dropping your kids off with a babysitter. Like, okay, so if one of their limbs falls off, here's the doctor. Here's how you get to the hospital. Here's the backup person if it isn't me. You know, like you have to kind of give them all the information. You have to export that out of your mind. It was probably what held me up the most was documenting everything. But it's so boring, but that's what needed to happen.
Well,
it really
and
was.
I think that's the reason why people don't do it.
Right.
Because just the thought of having to put that into like paper or even on a document on your computer, it's overwhelming.
It is.
And also, let's be real,
Yep.
we get sidetracked very easily because
Oh, yeah.
we got all of these responsibilities and all the people like
Right.
asking for things. So we're like, so when do I actually sit down and write this stuff down?
Right.
So one of the things that I used as a method as I was starting to create the SOPs was like one day at a time.
Right.
I took literally one day at a time. I put a notepad next to my computer, and every time I did one thing, I would write it as a list.
Right.
Not like in details,
Right,
but as a
just
list.
document it.
And that one list allowed me to then go back and say, okay, now I'll figure out this first thing. What did I really do with that?
You know what was a huge help for me? And I know we all use this tool, which is AI now. No, when we
Oh.
were first
Oh, we
getting
didn't have
no,
that
we
then.
actually didn't. No, definitely not.
This was not
Right.
available 12 years ago,
Right.
okay?
I'm like, no, totally. And so like documenting everything was so frustrating. But now I find that whenever there is a new, because like we just started offering LSAs, which are local service ads, a little bit different. And the onboarding process around that, we are in AI land. So like it was so easy to just say like, dear ChatGPT, I need,
Right.
and like you can go through and they'll give you a process. And of course you adjust it because it's never exactly, you know, much like the custom solution you need for your CRM. It's
Right.
never perfect, but it gets you 80% of the way there. And you're crazy to not do it because you can not only document all of them, put them into an SOP. I almost feel bad for like the HR managers because like the stuff just kind of spits it out
Right.
fast, you know?
Yeah.
The process of automation and streamlining, now that AI is part of the conversation too, just makes it that much easier. And I hate saying this to any listeners, but there's almost no excuse to not have your SOPs documented anymore. Like it, because it does
right.
it so fast
Right.
for you now. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about trying to get that one thing fixed.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I think one day I was onboarding
Mm-hmm.
a new hire, and I found myself answering the same question like 50 times.
Mm-hmm.
And it got so frustrating. I had to mention it to another employee. I'm like, are they not retaining? I'm like,
Right.
what's really going on? Is it me or is it them?
Right.
So then I decided to do a PowerPoint for my
Mhm.
onboarding, and only I go through the PowerPoint. And the PowerPoint says everything from our name, mission, what we're trying to do out here. It has all the jobs, all the communication tools that we use. It's everything about
Right.
the company in this PowerPoint that I do with the new hire once, they get in. That has made life so much easier for me
Right.
because I don't have to think about it no more. It's all
Right.
on the PowerPoint. Now, if the phone number changed, I got to remember to go in and change the phone number and the fax
Right.
number, whatever. But it's been the same for 12, 13 years now, so I don't have to worry about that. But just think about those little tweaks, not twerks.
Hey,
Not twerks. Those little tweaks that you have to do. Like we don't use Indeed anymore.
Right.
Right. And I need to take that off. And I just thought about it when we were talking about this. The little things I have to go in and fix in that same document
Right.
that has saved me so much time and effort.
Yeah.
I would say for me, the paperwork of getting an agreement, payment authorization, NDA, like all of those like legal documents that I need to have for my
Right.
new clients. I outsourced somebody who created all those forms
Right.
with our branding and then with the fillable fields. So that then that can be sent by somebody else in my
Right.
team. I don't have to do this, but I used to do that manually
Yeah.
every
Oh my
single
gosh, yeah.
time. And so now that's all standardized.
Right.
Somebody else handles it, and it looks nice,
Right.
professional, and you paid for it one time,
Right.
and
Right.
it's all done, right?
Right.
So to me, that was like a big thing.
Yeah, it doesn't even need to be complicated. Like it can be just as simple as a checklist. Like years ago, back in the day when I used to wait tables, and it was also my previous career, I was in hospitality. So I always had a lot of servers and bartenders and stuff like that. And what we had was something called like side work, which was basically just a checklist. So I could tell, and this is in a weird way, do it with my own team now, which is we'll go through the checklist and say, okay, was this done? Was this done?
Yeah,
Was this
yeah, yeah.
done? And we can see. And what's really great too is it isn't just the check mark, but who did it. So that you put the
Right.
check mark and then say like, who's responsible? Oh, Trisha's responsible for this. And you don't see that's not checked off. Or if it's checked off and it's not done right, you'd be like, hey, Trish, come here because you jacked it up. So like having something like that, it doesn't need to be multiple steps. It doesn't necessarily need to be complex. It can just be something where there's a level of responsibility and accountability. So
Right.
I find that those things are really helpful as well.
Yeah, I love checklists. I don't care how old I get. I need to know that it's done.
That's
And
right.
When you check it, and whoever check it, it better be done.
That's right.
Girl,
So,
you
but
know I'm the checklist.
I know, I know. But EchoSign and being able and Adobe being able to put the stuff in there, and I can always go back and get it and send it, get it signed, and it comes straight back. I think that was probably one of the best things made.
Right.
And it's not even expensive.
No.
Right. It's not expensive, and you just have that piece of automation that makes your business go from looking like you're not a professional to professional in a matter of seconds.
Yeah.
So I hope if you don't have it, look for it. EchoSign and Adobe.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a game changer for especially small businesses just
Yeah.
getting started.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, with the task management or the checklist, so we've used, oh boy, have we used so many different kind. And at one moment, I thought I was being a really good leader. And I think that there's an argument to say that I was, and there's an argument to say that I wasn't, where I asked the team, like, what tools have you used and what tools have you liked? And one of them was called Teamwork, and everybody loved Teamwork. And then we also switched to Asana, and we went to ClickUp. And part of the reason why those three in particular were really popular with the team was because they had what they called contingencies. So like, all right, well, this task needs to be done by James, but it can't get done until Eleanor finishes this task. So they were like contingencies, which was great. But I'll be honest with you, I got lost in contingencies. When you're managing that many clients and you're managing a whole team, I started to get really frustrated. And then the very first CRM that we used was and not only CMS but CRM too was Basecamp 100 years ago, and we went back to it. So and it's been upgraded. It's different than it was, but part of the reason why I like it is because everything's right in front of me, and I realized that even though I wanted to see the team thrive, that ultimately if I was leading them, I was going to need to be able to manage it as well, and they were going to have to adapt to me. I didn't like doing it that way. I don't like feeling like that. I see us as a collaborative team, but if I don't see the map, if I'm the one driving and I can't see where we're going, it doesn't really matter how many people have better directions. You know, like I've got to be the one.
Right.
So I found that the Basecamp was actually my favorite. And thus far, the team is really responding well to it. Nobody seems to have an issue with it, which is great. So
for us, having our CRM system have the workflows of what's assigned to each individual in the team, and when they complete it, then the next task is automatically created,
Right.
whether it's for them or for somebody else. That was a game changer,
Right.
Because I don't have to ask,
right.
what status is my client at. I can, if it's not on my to-do list or my
Right.
task list, it means it hasn't been completed.
Right.
It's that simple.
Right.
Like, it's very, very simple. So to me, that was a game changer and worth the investment, so that I could now have more time to do the things that I actually enjoy doing versus
Right.
like doing all the busy work.
Right.
That drives me crazy. So anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's interesting too, because I can remember having like a really crucial moment. This was a while ago where I was doing everything. Like it was Brian and I, and we were both just doing all the tasks that needed to be done. And I really wanted to start outsourcing, but we weren't making enough to outsource. And I can remember so critically, like how much I was charging by the hour, how much we were making per client, and then how much it would cost me to hire somebody to do some of this work, and how much it freed me up. And that was the tipping point. Like you invest your time when you don't have the money. And then as soon as you start getting the money, you hit that like kind of magical tipping point where it's like, now it actually is costly for me to do it. It needs to be somebody else doing it. It's kind of a unique spot to be in when you're business. Again, years ago, but still.
The thing is, you still need to know the processes. We can't put it all
100%.
on automation, right?
Right.
You still need to know your processes. And getting the software, no matter how great it is not going to fix a problem,
No, you're right.
right? It's
Yeah.
Even no matter how fancy the software, it's not going to fix your problem. You still have to put it in there, and it still has to work. It still has to work.
Right.
So that's the whole thing. You need to still understand your business, because a lot happened when AI started. People started doing business plans, doing everything off of AI, and just trusting that it knows your business better than you.
No, and it doesn't.
And you have to still go in, read the stuff, make sure it suits you
Right.
and your business or whatever it is you're doing. So make sure when you get the software, you know your business enough to know that this will work or will not work. And then go from there. Don't just grab a software thinking it's going to fix the problem, because the problem is still going to be there.
Well, and I think adding to that is, small businesses have the one challenge that larger corporations don't have, which is limited human capital.
That's right.
Oh my
Right?
goodness, yes.
And so when a small team of 4, one person calls out sick or is not available, now you're at 75%
That's right.
capacity, right?
That's right.
And we oftentimes don't think in those terms, but like, what if? And it happens, and it just happened to me.
Oh, I know. At the worst time,
It
too.
did
This is
at the worst time.
The worst time of the year for
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. So, when you have that kind of a situation, you as the business owner, you need to know
Right.
what needs to happen. Who can you delegate it to? Or do you have to jump in and do it yourself? And that's basically what I had to do. I just had to jump in and do it myself, and completely shifted my entire schedule
Right.
for the rest of the month, because it was like, well, who else is going to do it? Like, this has to be done.
Right.
We have deadlines, and our clients are expecting results. So I can sit here and wonder,
Right.
let me go hire somebody to no, like, I have to get it done today.
Right.
And if you hire somebody, you got to train them,
Right.
Which
Which
is
slows you down, too.
It's
Absolutely.
such a slowdown. But that's also like, do the Loom recordings.
Right.
And all of those applications that allow you to, like, so you record it one time, go watch it and see
Right.
if you know how to do it now. 'Cause
Right.
I gotta be over here doing something else.
Right. Absolutely.
And I think that helps too with retention, because I know that, like, if we put ourselves in our employees' shoes where we're the ones being trained and it's a new business and it's new information, even if you're familiar with the job you've been hired for, what if your boss kind of walks you through a process and you don't really retain it the first time? I would be embarrassed to say, like, I need you to explain that to me again, or I missed this piece of it. So having it like on video too gives them the opportunity to kind of go back and revisit it. So if they do need to listen to it 2 or 3 times, they're not on you to do that, and they can kind of save face because they're just, they're getting better at it by watching it more than once. They can reference
I
it.
feel like after this, I need to record more.
Yeah.
But let's get practical.
Yes. Yep.
Let's get practical.
Yeah.
What are your favorite tools that actually work?
Okay, am I allowed to say that my husband, like, can I say, like, he's great? I was like, he does all the stuff. I love him. No, so like I said, I really, I've been loving Basecamp. I use a lot of Google Docs too. Poor Brian. Poor B. I use Google Docs, and Google Drive is one of my favorites. I like it more than Microsoft by a lot, for a lot of different reasons. But I also use HubSpot. But I've used HubSpot in its full capacity, and I've used it as really just like content management. And it's very intuitive, which I really like. And I like how much you get for free. So I think that for any small business owners that are really just like at that tipping point, and they're like, I really need to take all of my contacts out of a spreadsheet or not have them live in my Gmail or in my Outlook or whatever, HubSpot's great because it can also help you document any notes that you have from a phone call. It'll keep all of your emails. It can help you assign tasks. And it'll also connect with I use, like I said, Google, so I use Gmail. It connects with my G Suite. So anytime I have a conversation with somebody, I can go back into HubSpot and there it is. And I can organize people by, are they a lead? And then they've graduated into a client. So I really like that. And then I can also kind of document things like when they became a client or when their business has their business anniversary, little things like that, so that you can kind of have those little extra touches because I'm a service-based business. So you want to have those extra touches. So I love that. And I love Google. And I'm really digging Basecamp is another one that I really like. I'm trying to think, what other tools am I in all the time? I also use Quiller but it's really more for marketing firms. But I really like that for proposals. People like to use PandaDoc and stuff like that. I like Quiller. It's got that extra little zhuzh from a visual standpoint, which as a marketing firm, you really want that little extra something.
Yeah.
So,
What about you?
Well, for me, obviously we have the accounting software.
right.
Live in it 24/7.
Sure.
But I think from a team perspective, Slack has been tremendous because we have a remote team. It's quick. We can get on a huddle and like in 5 minutes knock something out for a client. We can assign. The people can request days off. We have for like leadership meetings. Like we have all of our like rocks where like who's doing what, when, wow, and as it gets completed, then I get notifications, and so now I don't have to like go find out what the status is of anything. So to me, that's been one of the like great apps lately.
Yeah, Slack's great. I use it for work and for like side projects and stuff like that. What about you, B?
So I'm a Google lady too. I love Google. But I also use Teams. I'm connected with most of my clients through Microsoft Teams because they jump on the call. They do the calls on there. So Teams is good for me, but it can be problematic at times when you're doing documents and stuff. But 365, because I have the whole suite, I love the fact that we can put the documents in there and all of us can see it. Everybody who works at your workplace can see it. So Microsoft 365, you got to see if you want the online version or just go purchase the program. But either one of them would work. You can look at it and work from anywhere in the world. So that's also very important to me, the ability to be able to work where I'm at and still be able to access my documents and stuff. The Google is just like that. And then trying to think of another one. I do like Basecamp. I was new to that. You had introduced me to that. But I'm starting to like it. I'm trying to figure out how I can incorporate that at work too. But I think those two are my main ones. As far as the ATS, and if we're saying acronyms that you don't know, just shoot us a message, and we'll get those out to you. But as far as my ATS, I'm still working on that actually. Like I just finished using one. One of them stole so many people from me because it's supposed to be cloud based, but then it said they had a system outage, and then a month later they was like, "Come join us with over 200,000 nurses." And I'm like, yeah, part of them are mine. Right. What are you doing?
Oh, no.
So I'm still trying to find the best one for us. But in the meantime, I'm working on getting my own built. For just our internal company.
Right.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Awesome.
I'm sure more will come to mind too. Like as I'm thinking about it, I'm like, oh, I use Otter and I use Zoom. Like I keep thinking about
that too.
Which, as the accountant in the room, go do an inventory of all your applications and are you actually using them for what they're meant to be used, or are you wasting your money?
Right.
Because I see it on my clients' books all the time. They have like so many applications. I'm like, do you really use any of that? And they're like, oh, well, I got it like 3 years ago, but I don't use it anymore. So why are you paying for it?
Right. So you're saying if we document our processes and then audit those processes, we might see that some of the softwares we bought, we don't need anymore because our process no longer requires it. Gee, Carolina, thank you.
Look, that's just like at home. We're paying for all these subscriptions to all these different outlets, and we don't use half of them, or we're paying for them double. I'm like, come on, we need it.
Make no mistake, they're counting on us doing
it. They are.
We
actually, because I was doing Apple and Amazon, and I was paying double for BET, double for a few things. And I know they're not gonna give me my money back. No. So I just canceled all of the stuff on Apple and left it on Amazon Prime.
That's
where I can see it.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
But always do the inventory. Do the inventory, do the audit on what you're spending, so you can save that little bit of money. And
because a little bit turns into a lot of it real fast.
And that could be gas, coffee. That could be something. No matter how little or much it is.
Lunch with my ladies. Right. Exactly right.
That's right. All right, you all. So if you are feeling like business is an unorganized disaster, let this be the sign.
Mhm.
It's time to fix it.
That's right.
Pick up one system, clean it up, and build from there.
Exactly. And don't try to fix everything at once. Small, consistent changes will get you there.
It's true. Now, I would say that audience out there, we want to hear from you. What's one system in your business that's driving you absolutely bananas? Let us know in the comments, DM us, or shoot, just send a carrier picture. I'm good with any of it at this point. Just don't keep suffering in chaos, and know that you are not alone when it comes to the chaos and not knowing what's next and whatnot. That is the community we are building, because I promise you, we all started as a hot mess and now we're just a little less messy. So hit us up and we will show you other ways to kind of, get yourself there and we've got your back.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit less messy. We're still a hot mess.
That's right.
No lie.
That's right.
If you found this episode insightful, share with a fellow business owner or whoever you think needs to hear this, because I know you know somebody who lives in chaos. So make sure you follow, subscribe, share the episode, and comment on what worked for you.
Absolutely.
Till next time. Breaking even
Better. Thank you so much for listening to the Breaking Even Better podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, please take a minute to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content. To connect with our podcast or any of us individually, make sure you head to the show notes for all the links you need. See you in the next episode.